another large component for medical devices. And obviously what we call outbound marketing. So inbound marketing would be when they come to you, as in they came to us, and outbound would be we figured out a lead list. I don't know, we found them on LinkedIn, or we hired someone to cold call. So that would be outbound marketing. I would say those are the three main channels. And then there's, referrals, more creative little tactics, but these would be the three channels. I'm sorry, you had a question.
Yeah. Like in terms of like the channels, do you see any changes coming up in terms of channels, like any new potential channels of marketing or?
Here's the thing, that's my dream. That's what I want to figure out all the time, because I am always looking for creative ways. I was trying to tell our CFO the other day, I was like, my dream for this company is, let's say we are in a grocery store, right? And currently our device is, let's say it's in chiropractic tools aisle, which we aren't. It's just chiropractic tools aisle. We are much more than that, but that's where it is. Because they didn't know, they just put it there. And it's like on the second level. It's not on the first one, but it's like, so you have to really lean down and see it and then touch it. What I want to do is for a person to step into the supermarket and hear our jingles, see people wearing our shirts. Like, that's what I'm aiming for this kind of thing, because it's so easy to market, because it's not intrusive. I have this opportunity to put it, like I could bring it here and show it to you and I wouldn't get in trouble for it. But a lot of my medtech marketing professionals would. So I have that.
Volunteers?
Yeah, exactly. But a lot of my colleagues would. So I don't know, but I am working on it. And for example, I worked in a digital casino once, and a creative tactic I used for that digital casino, and you want to be a soccer coach, you'd love this. I bought ad space for Real Madrid home matches. But guess what? These home matches were only going to be seen in the target location of my choice, which was South Korea. Because that technology, and look it up, it's an amazing technology. The space that we see, it's different based on where you are, because we buy the license for that country. So the football players, soccer players, sorry. I'm not from the United States, so it's football. Hate me, that's okay. But it's an amazing technology of how you can target based on the license of that country, because I used Real Madrid at home, and my casino generated $2,560,000 of revenue just from the home matches, which was like I think 6 matches or something.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a cool tactic I would like to try to figure out for this company, basically. You had a question.
Yeah, so you talked about you do the inbound, outbound,
Yes.
onboarding, upselling of all these customers.
Yes.
What's the overlap and what's the difference between you and the sales department in your company?
I am only enabling sales. I'm not doing the sales. In an ideal world, and happy this is not recorded, we never need a salesperson. There's never a need for a product to really explain its value. People are smart enough, there's enough, like if you look up our company, there's so many reviews, like it already says what it is. All you need is the price. But that's where our sales, and a lot of medtech sales is about this. Fill out a form, get the price. That's the only way you can get it. I don't like it, but that's the name of the game. In my ideal world, it would be an e-commerce website with enough value that they would be like, oh, great, of course, I want 5 of these, please. And then send it over without a salesperson. So I am a sales enabler, I'm not a seller. But in an ideal world, my function would also cover the selling. So it would be an e-commerce platform where we wouldn't need a salesperson who asks a question, like for example, do you treat neck pain? In my ideal world, someone is on our website because they already know they treat neck pain, So that's where my role is. Okay, please.
You said you got a Master's of Technology. What pushed you to have that type of degree specifically, and how has that helped you in your marketing?
I trashed out the rest of all.
Okay, great. So here's the thing. I was hoping that because I had a passion for coding and technology in general, and I kept being in these tech roles, like kind of the CEO's sidekick, figuring stuff out. I was like, I need something to my name that says that I value technology. You know, I've put some time into it, and a lot of master's degrees these days, especially the one that I took, which is kind of like a pay and get it kind of thing, unfortunately. Um, they're just about showing your priorities. And I was an English language and communications person who wants to be in medical devices or wherever, showing that I understand technology. That's the only reason I took that, because I was looking for technology masters that would just validate my resume, because my resume had a lot of tech things in there for startups. And I think people were like, wait, so are you a marketing major? Are you trying to lead a tech company? What's going on? So I thought the master's degree would just be like a good tie, you know, like a bow tie on this packaging of mine. That's where I went. I am looking for a PhD 100% at some point, hopefully in strategic management and entrepreneurship. Like, you know, how to make great leaders for startups, you know, how to just make sure that it's a better world with startups rather than, you know, us thinking about our livelihood and our privacy every day, you know? That's my goal.
Yeah, I've had, recently I've had a lot of conversation about what does the degree signal for you?
Yeah.
Right, and particularly Lucy wanted to go back to her home country, and what the signals there are different than the
Yes,
signals here.
yeah.
And so we had to strategize, all right, what makes most sense? Like if you're here, a master's degree signals certain things, a bachelor's degree signals certain things. But as you go back to a different culture, what does that signal? And let's strategize on, if that's the goal, how do we spend less time doing stuff that doesn't matter?
Yes,
to this group,
absolutely.
But more, right? So, yeah, this is a consideration you guys should also have if you're gonna go to graduate school.
Yeah.
Are you doing it for you? So I did my PhD because I thought it was cool.
That's what I wanted to
But when I did that, when I was young, I didn't realize, oh, right, this isn't how you make money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is the thing you guys should have a conversation with yourself. What is it I want to do, and is this the right signal to give?
Please.
How did you, well, I'm Cody.
Nice meeting you.
How did you determine that you wanted to do like marketing and something in technology? Like what?
I think I didn't determine that. I think I just ended up, so here's the thing, I'm from Armenia. It's a small country in the Caucasus next to Turkey, and I was an exchange student here in 2012 at St. Paul Central. And then when I went back, the American University of Armenia was like, listen, seems like you know enough English. Look, I mean, you can apply here and, you know, we'll waive your fees, just like apply. Are you okay? I was like, cool, okay, I'll do that. So I ended up in a major that I liked enough, you know, English language, literature, I loved that. Communications, there was a lot of media stuff, video editing, that kind of stuff, I loved it. So I ended up in a position with a great knowledge, great command of English, where people are like, okay, seems like you can figure this Facebook thing out, seems like you can figure this other thing out, okay, let's see what you can do. So I ended up in a position just because of my curiosity of figuring things out. And unfortunately for me, the label is marketing rather than tech expert, tech specialist, or figure out, and I'm fine with that. It's just, my title is more about what other people have to see rather than what I actually do. Because, and I'm sorry for dropping a lot of keywords in there, I would like to expand on a little bit more what those things mean when I was just like giving you things, because what really matters for me is the portfolio that I take out of a company. Like for example, landing a major collaboration with UFC Performance Institute is not a marketing activity. It's a business project. Where can I put it in my buckets of my portfolio? That's what I care about. They call me marketing manager just because they want, when I reach out to someone, they're like, oh great, this is that girl who does this thing. So I would say, to answer your question, didn't choose it by choice, ended up there just out of curiosity and because I knew how to do things like Facebook and all these like new marketing things were just on the rise. But to wrap it up, it doesn't really matter because that's not really what I do by conventional standards of what people expect a marketer to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Eric.
No.
Amy,
I'm Aaron.
Eric.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
At which startup company did you feel like you learned like the most about marketing, or you kind of like figured out the marketing game?
I think my first one, just like, I worked, my first ever official job was with the Beyonce of Armenia. Literally, the Beyonce of Armenia. Her name was Sirusho, and the most famous celebrity, literally. And Armenia is like we have 3 million population. Can you imagine, like smaller than Twin Cities, that kind of stuff. So you can imagine, I was with the stars. So that was, first of all, she paid me very little. That was my
So not
first.
Beyonce.
No. I mean, I'm sure Beyonce would pay her 16-year-old, intern kind of person very little too. With all due respect, love her, Queen Bee. But I think what I've learned first is to figure out what I'm gonna do first. Because the role was so wishy-washy. I had no idea. Oh sure, I'm so excited, I'll just do it. So I've
Did
learned.
you just join because it was her?
Yes,
Okay.
because I saw a big opportunity. I saw a big opportunity to tie my name to a celebrity. After that, when I was like, oh yeah, I worked for her, they were like, please come on in. And I think it's very important to use opportunities. She later ended up in a lot of political issues, but I was so far gone, so that's good. But I thought I was tying my name to a really big thing. But that's where I learned like a lot of stakeholder management, which, to be honest with you, is a much more important skill to have in marketing than anything else. Everything else is like YouTube tutorial-ish kind of thing you can find out, like how to capture anonymous leads. That's an easy one, everybody knows that, but stakeholder management is very important. And I think that's what I learned here. I was working with her producer, I was her producer's assistant, I was working with her. She was launching a jewelry brand. I had to figure out what Shopify was. I had no idea what Shopify was. So I think just saying yes to everything is like, oh, do you know this? Like, nope, I'll figure it out. Give me, one day. I think that just started everything. So I wouldn't say that I've learned most there, but I think that's where it started for me, like figuring things out. But stakeholder management would be the biggest skill I've got there at a very early stage, and I think that has been the most important for me. Please.
For someone who wants to learn Facebook or Meta ads,
Yes.
how could you take steps to do that without burning through so much money?
Actually, you don't need much money. So, do you have something to sell, like right now? Anything? Like-
Software.
Okay, perfect, great. Software is the easiest because you have, yeah, because let's say, honestly, depending on where you are, which location you're targeting, it would be, the United States has a lot of cheap locations, but let's say if, and a lot of good traffic too. So I wouldn't say target all of Southeast Asia because that'll be a lot of population and not the traffic you're looking for. But let's say in the United States, you can start from $5 a day, and it could be all across the United States, and then you'll see what traffic sticks. So what I would suggest, and let's think of one product in your mind, whether it could be a software, a service, it could be anything, or you're launching your course. So let's say I set up my little ad, I made a Canva, everybody knows Canva, I'm sure. I made a little ad, I posted on Facebook, I created I'm launching it for $5 a day, all of the United States. Facebook has a lot of Meta, has a lot of new tools that are all AI powered. So a lot of the algorithm has taken away the manual targeting that we had to do before. So a lot of geographic, I want a person who's skinny, who's tall with this demographic. That's not allowed anymore. And I'm very happy it is so. Now it's all based off of your whole experience on the web. So when you think, they're listening to your phones and then you suddenly see an ad, most likely you have interacted with something so similar. Like, we're so predictable. I hate to say it, but we are so predictable as human beings. Like, it's just a mind map of every single thing that relates to the other thing. So it's very easy to predict the thing that you need. I personally love personalized ads. They have so far been the most important thing of my consumerism. Oh my God, that's exactly what I was looking for. Like, how amazing is that? The only thing I inspired to do in capitalism, just like more personalized ads. So I would start with leaning into these tools that Meta has made available for us. There's this new algorithm update called the Andromeda. So if you go look it up, you'll see what the Andromeda is asking from you. It would be creative variation so that Facebook will figure out who's the right person for you. Before, you could do one creative visual. Oh, you're like, oh my God, I love this one. This is the best one. And then a very specific targeting. Now, Meta's asking you, do a lot of creative visuals and leave the targeting to me. I'll just do what I gotta do. But here's the thing. Here's where you check if Meta's doing the right thing. You hopefully have set up some data capturing thing on your website, and hopefully you're leading everything to your website. All that data is your most important thing. All the captured data, like the cookies that you capture of your customers, that's the most important thing for you. You do two things. One is Google Analytics, it's free. And then there's this other tool called Clarity. It's by Microsoft. It's a screen recording and heat map tool. It's kind of scary when you first start with it because you can literally see what people do. You can't see them, you don't know who they are. You can see their location, where they come from, and you can see what they've scrolled, what they've read. So you can figure out whether what Meta promised you to be good traffic, is it actually good traffic or not? So start small, figure out your platform, whether it's Meta, Google Ads, there's so many other platforms out there. Snapchat ads, I've never tried them, but if it's something Gen Z related, maybe that would be useful. So just think about that and then start with a very small budget. I've received our biggest lead, the $650,000 generated one, with only $150. That has been our biggest customer, will stay with us forever, loves us, will bring us more customers. So it's just a matter of the algorithm learning what you want and just keep reiterating that creative.
I think David mentioned that you wanted to work in the FDA. Is that what you said?
No, it's another person.
Oh, sorry, never mind then.
Yes, please.
You mentioned that earlier that like you kind of liked working in like the chaos and like figuring things out quickly and doing things really quickly, and then you mentioned like the AI things that were kind of making your job easier. Is there anything that you wish existed that like made your job easier that doesn't already?
Yes. Well, okay, there's one thing. This is a big pain in the neck. I do a lot of expense reporting. A lot of it, all these ads, everything, that every little thing I spend on. I'm responsible for the office lunches, which is a lot of power. Don't give anyone that much power. I wish there was a tool, like for example, my Claude Cowork, that would have accesses to all of the platforms that I need the receipts on. That would be Adobe, that would be Meta, that would be Google, that would be the lunch place, that would be, this is kind of an impossible task. Well, nothing's impossible, but currently I think with the privacy layers that we have, it won't be possible. But something that could submit those receipts on my behalf without me having to go into each one, downloading them, and then submitting them into the platform that I have to. That would be amazing. That's what I'm looking for. Because as a marketing manager, not as a marketing specialist. As a specialist, I would never have to worry about this. But as a person who's managing projects, that's my number one responsibility, making sure we're on budget and making sure nobody spends anything ridiculous.
So it turns out the super common startup problem to solve is writing reports. So if you can do all these tools, the problem that you're solving for a lot of professionals and managers, they need to report up.
Yeah.
Right, so there's a one button report creator. That's the real problem that you're solving. The other stuff is just.
Yeah. You had a question?
Can I ask like a little bit more personalized question, but it's probably a good. So when you were talking about how your job is like, it's very like, it's not a scripted out process. It's very like not set in stone. You just go, you figure something out. I am doing a internship next summer where the environment is different. It's like very kind of the opposite where it's like and when you talked about that, I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting. That sounds like me. Like I would like to, things are kind of more all over the place and you got to go figure it out. I'm curious what your like suggestions, maybe like stuff to look for if I'm going into environment that's maybe more like, the opposite of that.
Here's the thing, this is a cultural, probably issue that I have coming from a different culture, a very direct culture. We don't jump around the thing, we address things head on. I think a lot of dysfunction in the workplace, here people call it toxic, or passive aggressive. I would say look out for how people share feedback. That's very important. So I would say just ask whenever there's hopefully an interview or you're learning from things from people. I would say always ask for feedback. That always puts you straight like ahead of everyone. On my first week of this job, at the end of the week, I said, any feedback? I asked the CEO, any feedback you have for me? Anything I could do to improve? He was shocked. He was just like taken aback. I think that would actually be more helpful because he didn't even see what I did because I was doing all many things just in a week. I think that would be more helpful in a structured environment where you'd probably be able to track the feedback that they have for you. Like, oh yeah, you had 7 tasks, you did only 5. What's wrong? How can we help you? So I would say definitely stay ahead with the feedback request rather than when it comes to you, you're already winning. They're like, oh great, look at him. He knows what he wants to achieve out of this. And the other thing I think is what I've done wrong I've worked also for Philip Morris International, by the way, the cigarette company. So what I've done wrong in that structured environment was ask for it more than what it was. I think going with the right set of expectations is very important. And if it's a big corporations, I would say stick to your 9 to 5. There's no passion needed in that company for a startup. It relies a lot on the final exit and my passion to move it forward. For a big company, I would just say prioritize being good at what you do for your portfolio, stay ahead with the feedback, and just focus on your well-being. Because when you get to a point when you do want to join a startup, you want to have that energy to really try to run with things. So if you work for a big corporation, I would say stick to your 9 to 5, do your personal life. That's much more important.
Hi, I'm Noah.
Nice meeting you, Noah.
You mentioned you had a competitive advantage because you knew coding when you were a major. I am a CS major. I know coding. I need a competitive advantage in the other direction. What would you recommend?
If I can, okay. Well, other than the obvious tools that I can just send you later if we stay in touch, I would just say open-mindedness towards marketers, because a lot of, unfortunately, my engineering colleagues, not knowing that I have some context, would not take what I'm saying seriously until I had to really like be friends with them, build relationships, earn their trust. That takes a lot of effort and unnecessary business time. If we put money value on that time that we wasted, it would be a lot of money. So I would say if you see marketers and I think building a relationship where they would teach you things, like I really would love to teach you everything that I know, literally, no, like anything that I know, I would like you guys to know. But I have had unfortunate like circumstances with a lot of startup engineers who know that the product relies on them. There's probably a very small group of people, so there's a lot of cockiness going there. So I would say if you're going into a room of marketers, always acknowledge the revenue they generate, because with no revenue, there's no product. And I would say just ask questions, because like this is my focus, like revenue generating. To be honest with you, I've never done really good email marketing. I would love to learn. How do you do good email marketing? Like sometimes I get great emails from Apple and I'm like, oh my God, I want to do this. I don't know how to. So it'd be really nice to learn. So I would say just, if you see a marketer, you can just ask, oh, what's your like expert thing, and then let them teach you. But I could send you a bunch of tools and things that you could learn that could be super easy and easy to pick up, like Clarity, super easy to install, super important to know as an engineer especially. And I think one thing we should all agree on is the product and marketing need to intersect somewhere in the user experience. So when we both should own this data, what happened on the website. It's not, oh, marketing didn't do this right. No, we both need to work together to figure out what happened with the user, you know? So I think all I'm trying to tell you is, if you have any marketing friends, try to lead with the curiosity and interest rather than the, I'm sure a lot of marketers get defensive, oh yeah, sure. So I would try to build that trust to get more information out of marketers. But also, if you have an email list, I could just give you,
They all have LinkedIn.
yeah, perfect, I agree. Oh, they have my LinkedIn, perfect, add me, I will send you all kinds of stuff. I can put it together and send it to you guys.
Lucy,
Okay, yes.
is there a product manager role in your?
We had one, we fired him.
Yeah, so the role of product manager is to understand that product. So things like, what do the users need? What problems does it solve, right? And then connect that with the engineers to build the right solution. For a lot of companies, the marketing people is the people who connect to the customers.
Yes.
They're that connection. And sadly, the engineers stay home and
Yes.
just code monkey away. So what you guys want to know is, where is that connection between the engineering and the actual customers? I don't understand, but a lot of companies just don't use their engineers to go on site and understand what's happening. with
Yes.
their customers.
Because a lot of marketers think they're gonna say the wrong thing. You know,
Oh.
the filter is like,
The marketing team thinks the engineers
Yes.
are crass.
yes, because, no, not just crass, just like, don't tell them or don't overpromise or don't underpromise, or, you know, I think and see, that's not the kind of marketer I am, because I don't do the filtering of content, I'm more of the content pusher. But I've seen that a lot in the industry where the engineers are monkey coding because marketers are like, no, I'll give you what the customer says. For my current instant problem with product development and the connection between customer and product is that the CTO has kind of a monopoly of decision making, and that's the only reason we didn't fire the product manager. He left because he just couldn't deal with that inconsistency of his role, because the CTO would still make the final decision. Again, going back to this org chart, the org chart defined this product manager's role. He didn't have the weight that he needed to tell the CTO, actually, this funny little thing you're making, we don't need that. Please fix that other problem that the customers have been complaining about. This is a classic problem. This is a textbook problem, which helps me sleep at night, because I sometimes worry that, what's wrong with this team? What are we not doing right? Textbook problem, super common in a lot of other teams. So totally with you. I'm currently leading the efforts of automating customer feedback rather than needing to interview, talk to them, like just figuring out ways for them to send us information. Before I joined, they didn't even have data tracking dashboard to like figure out how many people clicked on this, how many people clicked on that. So just to say, that wasn't a priority. It's a great product, really a useful product, but it wasn't a priority. The technical team was prioritizing other things, you know, and there was nobody to say, hey, we need other stuff. I want a question from you.
I'm not sure. This is like so separate from what I do.
What do you
but,
do?
I'm
Math?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, one of my favorite subjects. What are you
Okay.
gonna do later?
It's more so like into actuarial or even the coding side. I guess I would have a question about your use of coding. So like you're using Meta and everything. How often are you like connecting with like the advert space for like you to ask them for certain things? Or are you more so just trying to like get your ads out there? Like, are you ever trying to connect with people at Meta or?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's a great question because Meta has the service. If you've spent X number of money, I don't know how much, but it is a chunk. There's this pop-up that says, get in touch with a specialist who will help you set your stuff up. I worked with them for about a month and a half. It was a good like accountability check because they kept checking on me to see what I've done. But to be honest with you, they didn't really give me more than what I would already know. They were almost like salespeople for me to sell more ads, you know? I mean, to spend more money because they want to get more money, because they get a chunk of money based on my ad account. So I would say I have used them, but I didn't find them super useful other than just the accountability. It is a free service, but I think it's available only if you've spent a large amount of money on that platform. I want a question from you.
Yeah,
What's your name?
my name is Darsh.
Nice to meet
Yeah,
you.
so I'm studying computer science. My interest is mainly AI, ML,
Mm.
and yeah, I guess you kind of already talked about like how you use AI, ML in your everyday life. But I guess could you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try not to content generate with AI, just because I realized when I was doing it in the beginning, I was really just becoming dumber. Like because I just kept thinking in that structure, and I love writing. I really love writing, so I would rather write and then ideate. So I would use I'm sunsetting my ChatGPT, using it only for little tasks and stuff, and like creating GPTs for different tasks. But I am fully cyborged with Claude right now, with Claude Cowork, which is just amazing for organization, like sending me notifications for like, oh, something went wrong in this Excel. What happened? Like I have a customer usage sheet that if a customer goes below 5, it becomes red, and Claude tells me like, oh, this customer, what's going on? So it helps my retention efforts. I love vibe coding, especially now because I know much more about coding, but I'm like, for example, React Native. I've never done React Native. Now I'm learning React Native. I literally built what my company's trying to build in 6 months just with Google Studio AI, by connecting to the Gemini sources. So Gemini has the technology ready. Why would I go and make it myself, really, as a startup especially? Like what I'm trying to do is innovate, which is get ahead. And when I showed this to our CEO, I was like, oh my God, look how fun this is. And FYI, you can't go to a CEO and say, look at your stupid dev team. I did this in 30 seconds. I was just like, hey, look, oh my gosh, Google has this technology already. We should be using this. And he was like, oh my God, this is so cool. And I was like, I mean, we should be just more AI. And he said, yeah, that's a great idea. Send this to me, So stakeholder management, coming back to that. So yes, that's me. I've basically cyborged into Claude. I use it more for ideation and always ask it not to be creative. Don't add your stuff. Just construct the message, basically that. But I did post something, I thought it was funny on my LinkedIn. It's like this old grandma with a martini, and I said, this is me at 35 because I kept up with AI.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult and hard to keep up with AI, and it just like kind of drains you. But it's also very fun.
So I'm a data science student, so literally everything I do is about making and managing AI and data. Is there anything that like you wish that you could do with AI that you can't currently?
Yes, I would like to predict user behavior before it happens. I would like to do that. I'm sure there's tools out there, but I don't have them in my stack right now. I would love to know, seems like UFCPI has been doing sensory motor control exercises 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then they stop doing it. Is it seasonal? Because UFC has certain matches and championships. I would like to know that before I panic, or and also to just like get ahead of if they leave, So that's what I would like to do, like a user behavior predictor, like next topic.
Sure. On the presentation, I'm also in international school, so I'm kind of curious about
Yeah, don't get me started. Yeah, it's difficult. This company reached out to me because of my startup experience. And because they were Icelandic, when they reached out to me, I said, by the way, I'm not American. They were like, it's fine, nobody here is. So I would say maybe look into international, although times have changed. I can't talk about anything specific and how things would be perceived today, but I would say small teams would be more likely to take you on because they want passionate people with obviously much less pay. That's always going to be the case. I would say just focus on small teams, small startups, small groups of people that just want dedicated professionals. And if you're international groups, even better because they don't care. They're also
How does the visa process work? You stood in H1B?
yes, no, I don't have an H-1B because this is a small company that can't sponsor an H-1B. But I do have my F1 still because I'm on a STEM program which will get extended for 2 years. So I still have like 2 years. Yeah. Please.
Hi, I'm Ari. So, one question I have is, oh, thank you. Yeah, matching. So one question I have is, you're obviously dealing with people almost on an everyday basis. What's the biggest tip that you could give me for how to deal with people?
Here's the thing, yeah, team leadership is my favorite thing. I'm so dedicated to that cause. I think taking people as human beings is the most important. Like I always, and it's probably just a personality trait for me, but I always pay attention when someone asks for my attention. I think one thing I've done, and so far I asked for feedback from my other peers, was when they ask me a question, I stop everything that I'm doing and I dedicate my attention to them. They know to only ask questions because they know I'm going to stop everything that I'm doing, but I've set a precedent that I give them my full attention. I don't like time managing people. That has been really well received. But you have to be here on time and leave on time so that nobody will expect you to stay overtime. You know, so I think setting very healthy boundaries with the explanation of why. You know, if I told, like, I had a junior person who was also laid off, if I told him, oh, you gotta be here at 8 a.m. And he's like, yeah, well, you don't do anything here. We already soured our relationship, right? Because he's like, Lucy's managing me, which is my job, and so, you know, it's not good. When I tell him, if you're here on time, nobody will expect you to work overtime, he's like, no, actually, that makes total sense. So I think just because we're managers, we shouldn't expect people to just do what we say. I would say putting a lot of logic behind your request is very important, and just taking, if you read this, like, you know, and I have a lot of tactics that I've kind of compiled throughout my life.